Hey, what's going on, everybody? Today is Thursday. That means I'm taking a movie from my collection and making a poster out of it. As far as the design style goes, I like what I did last time with The Kid in King Arthur's Court, where I just kind of let the movie inspire the design. So I think I'm going to do that again. Before we get started, please remember to hit like and subscribe, and also click the bell for notifications to be notified of all new content. Now let's head over to the randomizer. Alright, I've got my movie collection pasted in here, so let's figure out what we're going to be doing today. Dirty Dancing. Alrighty. Well, I haven't seen this movie in a long time. Alright, well, the winner was Dirty Dancing, and here it is on Blu-ray. I actually picked this up, I don't even remember when I picked this up, but it's still sealed right here, so it's been forever since I've actually seen this movie. I used to watch it a lot when I was a kid, which is crazy considering what the movie is and everything, but I actually knew it pretty well from being a kid, and knew a lot of the key scenes and everything like that, but it's been a while since I've seen it. So as far as the design style goes, I'm thinking, since it takes place in the 60s, maybe like you could do a Bauhaus or a Swiss design with this, but I think I'm just going to kind of experiment and just see what happens and just see what I can create without really going into a goal for a specific design style. So let's just do that. All right, so I'm here in Illustrator, and I think what I'm going to do is I think I've got a nice color palette in mind for this. I've always associated, the color pink with it. The color pink definitely shows up. It shows up on the soundtrack and all this and everything. So I think I'm going to just grab an image of the soundtrack, and we'll just kind of, so this is the one that I know of, and I actually do like that pink and that purple together, so I may do something with that. I may let the soundtrack actually kind of inspire the design style. So let's go ahead and pull the colors from here. Alright, so let's see, this says original soundtrack from the Vestron motion picture. That's interesting. The time of your life. Okay, so why don't we do something like this? I actually would like to do maybe like a super light background, but not quite 100% white. So we'll, maybe like 97% or something like that. And then as far as the typography goes, I do like. I have always liked the typography of this, the Dirty Dancing, with that kind of brush style. So I think I might try to do something like that. And let's go explore, because I'm not actually familiar with what Adobe Fonts has to offer in terms of brush fonts. All right, so I've got all the brush fonts here that Adobe Fonts has to offer, and what I'd like to see is something that actually has the texture of the font that's on the album cover. So there's not a whole lot to choose from here, so I would like to see if there is anything like that. If they don't have anything, then I'm probably going to have to head over to DaFont. So Flood has the texture, but I'm not a fan of that at all. And then Smoothie. Smoothie is a possibility. I think that I'd have to do a whole lot of kerning, though. That's not necessarily a bad thing. Let's just kind of see here. Okay, so that's actually pretty cool. I'll activate both of them, and then I'll just see what the rest look like here. Okay, this Feltro right here, this kind of has that a little bit of that texture, but I think that I'm just gonna to make it a little bit more challenging, I think I'm just gonna use Smoothie. And now that we're back here, I'm just gonna wait for Adobe Fonts to activate.
One eternity later.
All right, so it took a couple of minutes, but it finally activated here. So let's kind of take a look and see what the words look like once we have them all spelled out right here. So I don't necessarily love this, but I don't hate it either. I think that we can do something with it, and I think that this kind of, like the fact that I'm taking this and trying to do something with it is, it's kind of akin to an actual design challenge where I'm trying to make something work with what I have, and I always enjoy doing that. So let's try a few different things here. I'd like to see just how much we can stretch the font. I'd like it to make it a little bit more wide. So I think that we can easily do that. We just got to go in and kern. All right, so this is looking good. So as you notice here, what I did was I brought the baseline of that lowercase t up right there, because I always do like, or I always did like, how they cross that T right there, you know, just kind of elongating it a little bit. So I think I'm gonna try to see what I can do there. And then I'm gonna go in here, so let's ungroup everything. And then just kind of grab some anchor points below here. There's a ton of anchor points, so I'm gonna try to get it to where it doesn't look too awkward right here. So I think we're gonna have to move some of these over a little bit, or at least kind of bring this up. It's almost there. We just got to make sure that it is still looking good. Okay, so the height there is looking good, and then I'm gonna grab these anchor points, probably go in as much as possible and just kind of bring it out like this. I wish this font had a little bit more of that brush texture to it, because it would really help to kind of exaggerate those a little bit, but it's fine. There we go. Okay, so we're just kind of matching that, you know, that not necessarily a flourish, but you know, we're just kind of matching that action that's going on there. I think that I'll probably, let's do this. Separate these two to see if I can bring it up just a little bit, just to kind of give it a little bit more of that negative space right there. Okay, and then that way we can bring in the Y a little bit, and we can actually even bring in the T a little bit more, since we've given it a little bit more of a height. Okay, so that's looking good. And we'll just kind of pair these together. Maybe something like this. I think that looks good. And it does, I don't know if it necessarily works for the movie, but I think I'm just gonna do it anyway, but kind of like a graffiti type of style, where we can just kind of maybe rotate it a little bit like this, you know, just like it is on the soundtrack cover there. But I wonder if we should probably be a little bit more methodical about it. And let's see. Well, let's not do that. Let's see. Well, maybe we could just go like right at 45 degrees, but that's a bit much actually, so we'll probably do half that. Okay, that's looking good. And then why not make them the same? Why not make it the same color, right? Okay, so Dirty Dancing right there. And so what I'm going to do here, since I don't really have an idea of a direction I'm going in, I'm just going to speed up this portion of the video so you can just kind of see the process behind everything. All right, so the font itself is actually pretty easy to work with. It's a good font. It just needs a little bit of modifications, at least for the purposes of this poster right here. So what I did was I just made sure that I distorted the width 150% instead of 100%, and then I've actually found that sometimes it can be easier to do your kerning by just selecting everything, converting to outlines, ungrouping, and then just moving the individual letters themselves. So I do like the way that this is looking right here, and I'm thinking I'm probably going to do Like I kind of like the idea of the graffiti that I was thinking about earlier. I think I might do some kind of distortion with the actual type itself, and then possibly bring it over into Photoshop and do like a brick background and just kind of make it look a little bit more like graffiti. All right, so I guess what this has become is it's become kind of like a teaser poster for the movie itself. So we'll just kind of call it that. And as far as the design style goes, I don't really like. It would probably just be considered just typographic art. Just kind of like I know that that's not very granular, but that's just what I would end up calling it. And we're just kind of borrowing some inspiration from that brush style script on here. So let's bring this over into Photoshop and let's apply some effects to try to get it to the final result of what I'm going for. All right, so I've got our art pasted here into Photoshop as a smart object. Let's go back to this really quick and grab this hex value. So what I like to do here is actually, I don't want it to be 100% black. So let's go in and grab, there we go. We'll grab that color right there. The reason why I don't want that is because I want textures to show up when we go into Photoshop. If you've got it 100% black, it's not going to show any kind of effects at all. All right, so we've got this, and then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to head over to Unsplash and see if I can find a brick wall. I'd like to find a black one, or at least something that I can make into black. So I think that I can easily do this one right here. This should be a nice large one. So let's give this a shot. All right, so to kind of give it those rough edges and everything that you would see in a typical graffiti art right there, I just did a Gaussian blur on both of these layers so that it kind of helps to blend it into the brick layer. And then I also want to dramatically darken the brick layer itself without making it to where you can't read the actual type. So I think that we're really giving it some good contrast here. My computer is choking right now where I'm throwing a lot at it. So, but yeah, so this is giving a good contrast everywhere. So I think that the very last finishing touch is going to be to add a little bit of a layer of grain here to the top, just to give it a little bit more of that texture that we're going for. So I think maybe 50 and then 25. We already have a vignette on the actual brick layer itself. So I think that just doing something like this, maybe like an overlay. Let's kind of take a look at how it looks here. It's a very, very fine detail. So like it's gonna kind of be hard to see in terms of it showing up here. So I think we might do something like vivid light instead. So what it does is it really just kind of gives it a little bit more of a pass over everything, just to kind of remove any kind of artifacts that are already there. And what's really cool about this is that we can double click on this because it's a vector smart object. We can go straight into Illustrator. If we want to make any kind of adjustments at all, then we can do that. So if I wanted to change this, we'll select the whole fill color. If we wanted to change it to yellow or something like that, we just hit save and then go back into Photoshop and it'll update that. There we go. So definitely a much more dramatic look. That kind of makes it look like a 1930s detective poster or something like that. It's amazing what you can do just by changing the color of something. So we're going to go back to the pink here. This is probably not the best representation of this movie. It just kind of the direction that it headed when I was putting the design together kind of makes it look like a little bit more of like a film noir, or like a crime drama or something like that. But it's fine. I don't really care. I do like the design of it. So it's pretty cool. So so here it is, my Dirty Dancing teaser poster that probably doesn't represent the movie too well, but I still like it. All right, well, thanks a lot for watching me make that poster. That was fun and challenging to have to work with the font, just because I chose that font. It's like, here's the font, this is what you have to work with. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something using Adobe Illustrator and Photoshop. If you did, let me know what that is down in the comments. Also, please remember to hit like and subscribe and click the bell for notifications to be notified of all new content. Thanks a lot for all you subscribers out there, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.